Jordan Moore and John Jackson.
UCLA, and now another rival looms as Notre Dame comes to the Coliseum on Saturday. We'll talk about it with head coach Clay Helton, tailback Justin Davis, wide receiver Deontay Burnett, and more. Tonight, I am Jordan Moore alongside John Jackson. And JJ, Trojans took care of business on Saturday at the Rose Bowl. Felt more like business to me than a rivalry game.
It was a business trip, and
Yeah.
the reason why it turned into a business trip is because UCLA got off to a good start. And this Trojan team continues to impress you in different ways every single week. I mean, we've seen in the past where they, force a team to be one-dimensional, where we've seen when they shut down Oregon running the ball. We've seen where they go on the road to Washington, a game you don't think they can win. And in this game, it was the first game in a long time that, and I'm talking a bad start. I mean, UCLA scored first. Probably the first time in a long time a team scored first. And then their team kept their same composure, same temperament, and just went about business to take the lead and ultimately control by halftime and ultimately win the game in the second half.
All right, well, we got plenty of big games to talk about. Get ready for your next big game. Let Ralph's help make game time a little easier. Place your order today for ready-made party platters at your neighborhood Ralph's Deli or at ralphs.com/order online. All right, let's bring in the head coach now, Clay Helton. And, I don't know. It was a rivalry game. It was certainly emotional in there, but maybe not as emotional in previous years. Was it your goal to try to take emotion out of it a little bit and focus, make it an execution game? In that sense, you were certainly favored.
Yeah, we brought in the approach of it was the next game up. We've been in this playoff mentality. It was our last conference game of the year, a critical one for us to get to 7-2 and kind of set the mark to be able to see where if Colorado could match it, and so we did. We took a business-like approach. We said execution is going to fuel our emotion instead of the hype of the game. And I thought the kids really went out there with a lot of poise and just played a good, solid football game.
The poise part of it, does that, I wouldn't say surprise you. I mean, you know this team well. But was that impressive to you as well? Mm-hmm. After UCLA got off to a good start, I knew they were in trouble when they got an unsportsmanlike penalty, but they got a 7-0 lead. But after they get off to a good start, and then you felt the stadium sort of come alive, for the first time. Was it impressive to you the way your kids, the team stayed together and just stayed the course?
No question, JJ. It was really neat to see as a head coach. They get an early shot in the game. Credit to them, and didn't see any panic. I mean, just saw poise on every kid's face. Like, okay, coach, don't worry about it. You get the ball on the 50, immediately make it a 7-7 game. They come back. We get a rookie mistake on an interception on a third down, and they get great field position, make it 14-7. And what do? That next drive, you make it right, 14-14. You come right back. So I thought we answered well, and then controlled the game from that point on.
How do you coach that? How do you coach poise? Because, we have certainly said all year this team, particularly over this last 2-month stretch, has responded so much better to adversity, in-game adversity, than previous years.
Yeah, we talk about it as a staff. We talk about it as a complete team that don't panic. I mean, especially from the coaching position, you have to be able to say, hey, 18 to 21-year-olds are going to look to you, and how you react, they're going to react. So just communicate what happened. We made a mistake. Hey, this is what they did. This is what we're going to go to. Let's get it fixed and let's move on. And I really love the leadership of our guys. When you talk about a Mike Hutchings and a Cam Smith that run that defense, and Stevie, and you look on the other side of the ball and you have a very experienced offensive line. I never see them flinch whatsoever. I mean, they just come back and say, Coach, don't worry about it. And then credit to Sam. He makes a mistake, and then you don't see any panic in his eyes. He's got the most short-term memory I think I may have ever seen in my career. He's just like, all right, Coach, we'll be fine. We'll go to the next one.
We've been naming different players every single week, it seems like, in terms of stepping up into their role. We've gone position by position. DeQuan Hampton, what a great story. I mean, to be in a game where he's just supposed to be, hopefully get playing time, period. Yeah. He plays such a huge role with the 2 touchdowns and a key first down catch. Just talk about how special that moment that is for you.
Yeah, it's so proud for him. A kid that's a senior and has been buying his time, preparing each and every week, waiting for his opportunity, and then be able to have that a chance to make 2 huge plays in that game, 2 scores, as well as some other kids. I was telling the guys today, how cool was it to all of a sudden see an Isaac Whitney make a huge first down our boundary, a Jalen Green make a huge third down catch. That was a hell of a catch, to keep a drive alive in the red zone. So we had some guys that, that made the most of their opportunities. Don't get a ton of opportunities, but they made the most of them, and that makes you proud as a coach.
I wanted to get back to Sam because I thought he did come out, boy, his foot was on the gas. I mean, it felt like he was really trying to push the game, and, he made some plays, but it also cost him maybe a little bit more. Do you have a conversation with him about maybe settling down? Does he just do that, with himself? Because he certainly settled down as that game went on and managed it much better in the final few quarters.
Yeah, definitely. The second half, I thought he played a really controlled football game, and I thought he learned some things in the first half. Got fooled on that third down with a 2-trap coverage that he should have worked the spacing on the other side. He nice hide by them. They had a weak side rotation, and the kid went back to cover 2, and that equaled trap by the corner and jumped on the ball and made a good pick. Learns from it. The other one is just kind of what Sam does sometimes, and you have to be real selective on what you say as a coach because his creativity, is very important to this offense. You saw it to Daquan. He put the ball up and gave his guy a chance to make a play, and he does. But he also has to learn the situation, and in that situation was third and really long. Yeah. You're on the 40-yard line, have a great opportunity with 10 yards with a good kicker in Matt to be able to get 3 points or reserve our right to punt. Our defense was playing good football. So those are the things that you talk to him about, and you don't want to make him a robot. You don't want to put the handcuffs on him because he does so many creative things, but you try to make it a teachable moment.
In a game where UCLA was committed to stopping the run, the line was challenged because they were, bump and run coverage and stacking the box early. Ronald Jones still ends up with 121 yards. He's a special player. We all know that. But those type of yards, is it more appreciative, understanding that the defense was geared up to stop you, and you still had a night like you did?
Yeah, no question. I keep the word balance keeps coming to my mind each and every week. And you look up and we rush for 260 and we throw for 267 and made some valuable rushing yards there in the second half as we took control of the game. So very proud of our offensive line. I really thought it was a big man's game, and I thought our offense and defensive line again showed up to the park, and that O-line, for one, ball control offense, did a great job in the run game, but 2, protected the quarterback. They had only 1 sack on the day against what we thought was one of the premier pass rushing teams in our league, with Tack McKinley coming off that edge every time. And so credit to them. Terrific football game by our O-line again.
We're going to talk to Justin Davis in a little bit. Do you feel like he's knocked off the rust? It seemed like maybe as that game went on, maybe he's starting to find his rhythm a little bit again?
One of the loves of my life, because you just, you got a kid that is not all the way healthy, but knows we need him to contribute for, some tough running yards, some pass protection, and just he goes out there the last 2 games and just not 100%, but gives everything he's got. And, between him and Sed, I thought they came in and really split those number 2 reps. Neither one of them all the way healthy, but they took a little bit of the load off Rojo to be able to catch his breath and give us valuable yards.
2 of my favorite stats are total plays, USC 95, UCLA 51. Yeah. Time of possession, USC 43 minutes and 47 seconds, UCLA 16-13.
3/4 of the game.
That's obviously a remedy for success.
Yeah, when you look at it, and that's one of the points that we brought up through the week, that we really thought third down efficiency was going to be huge in the game. And we put ourselves defensively in some third and long situations by stopping the run, and you look up and they're 2 for 12 and a lot of 3 and outs in that game. And then you look offensively and you look up and you're 12 of 21 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down. You just kept drives going. If there was anything we could have got better at, just being being perfectionist is.
I was gonna say, you got a nitpick here.
Yeah, is really finishing some drives. I think about the 18-play drive that we had, and we just don't finish that one off. Those are the things that we've talked about, is just finishing in the red zone this week, because it'll be valuable versus Notre Dame. A good offense coming into town. That's
right. Good offense is coming into town. Another rivalry game Saturday. Notre Dame at the Coliseum, 12:30. Games on ABC. We want you in the house if you can be there, though. USCTrojans.com/tickets. Fill that place up for the regular season finale, senior day, all that good stuff. USC versus Notre Dame. Don't need anything more than that. Coach will be back to talk about it next on Trojans Live. On Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and the head coach, Clay Helton, as USC gets ready for Notre Dame on Saturday, the regular season finale at the Coliseum. And Coach, you and your wife have partnered together. The first annual sneaker drive coming up this week. What can fans do? This certainly begins the holiday season, Thanksgiving on Thursday. What can they do to help cure the homelessness issue and help with sneakers?
Yeah, it's our first annual sneaker drive. We're really excited about it. So all Trojan family, Trojan fans, if you can bring new sneakers or fairly new sneakers, any sizes will do. We're going to try to help the homeless youth in Los Angeles over the holidays. And our football team is starting it this Thursday. We're going to be bringing our shoes in, and we hope that everybody will take the opportunity to bring a pair of shoes in and help the youth of our community.
Yeah, that's a great. How did you guys come into this in terms of how did you adopt this as one of the fundraisers you wanted to get involved with?
Well, you know what? We worked hand in hand with our social works department right here on campus and met with them several times and really they say, hey, speak to what's on your heart. And, one of the things that why not help right here at home first? And, we deal with young people every day and we're fortunate to be in the positions that we're in, and there's others that aren't in our situation, and so why not do our best job to try to help the situation.
As we look at this game on Saturday, I think fans were a little nervous seeing their two favorite players get banged up against UCLA. How are Juju and Adoree doing?
Juju's got a pretty good hip pointer that we'll take a couple days off here and try to get that rested, and a little bit of a sore arm. But being the warrior he is, he'll probably be back Wednesday or Thursday. Week 12 of the season, he's got some bumps and bruises. Adoree, tweaked an ankle a little bit, nothing serious. He'll be back tomorrow. He was moving around good today, so I anticipate both kids playing in the game.
Yeah, let's talk about Adoree a little bit. I mean, in the game, we saw a little bit of everything. We saw, him the negative where he gets beat for a couple touchdowns, but then we also saw him bounce back and make some plays. And then we also saw him be a decoy as well. A little bit of everything, which we usually get from him. Just overall his play on the night and how you assessed it.
What a special player and a special person. Congratulations to him on being a Thorpe Award candidate. Really special. What a mark of a great player. You get beat early, just to have a slip up, and then comes back and makes some dynamic plays in all phases. So came back and he made two plays that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just made those. One, he jumped as high as I've ever seen a man jump and knock a ball out, and then was a step behind on one and just caught up. His gaining ground speed's incredible. Offensively, we were able to get him in, just like you said, with one of the easier 19-yard gains I've ever seen. It just looked effortless, him running down the sideline. And then we did. We used him not as a decoy necessarily. We lined him up hoping for a man-on-man situation, but typical, the safety ran as fast as he could to get over top of him, and that freed up DeQuan to have a one-on-one situation and score a touchdown on that play. So great design by T and Tyson and good execution by Sam.
I can imagine what he's like when he comes to the sideline in terms of looking at his face and, you see just exudes confidence. But when he gets beat a couple times, you guys throw him right back in man-to-man situation. It's not like you say, okay, we're going to give him a break, give him a chance to get his confidence back. It's right back to the man-to-man defense.
He's like a great pitcher. Every pitcher, great pitcher's going to throw a ball on occasion, but he usually throws a lot of strikes, and there's a lot more positives than negatives when you're talking about Adoree.
And Adoree was named a Thorpe Award finalist, as you said. JJ, only Trojan ever to win the Thorpe Award?
Mark Carrier.
Mark Carrier, right? We got to speak to him earlier this season. Led the team out, I believe. What was that, the last game, the Oregon game, homecoming? All right, take a look at this Notre Dame team, Coach. And boy, they shouldn't be 4-7. I mean, how are they 4-7? And does it almost scare you that they come in as a little bit of a wounded animal because it's a dangerous one?
Yeah, first thing you do is you look at their personnel, and we're looking at it across the board, and we go, wow, this is a really talented team.
Not a 4-7 team.
No, it does not look. And, then you look at the scores, and what's ended up happening is there have been time after time in close games. You look at the 7 losses, 6 of them are 7 points or less, and the 7th loss is 8 points. So they've had an opportunity to win each and every one of those games, which really makes you nervous. It starts with their quarterback. I think Kaiser's an elite kid. He can definitely spin the ball, and he's a dynamic dual threat runner. He's got over 500 yards rushing already on the year. He's got a big target in St. Brown that's right here from the Southern California area that I know will be excited to come back, and it's very, very solid offensive line. The defensive front is a beautiful people. I mean, they're long. They're all 6'4", 6'5 plus, 300 pounds, and then they've got 2 linebackers in Niles and Unwalu that make plays for them all over the place. So we've got our hands full. It's going to have to be a great week of preparation. We are expecting an extremely tough game because in a rivalry game, that's the way things go, and there's a lot of emotion that's involved, and a shillelagh on the line.
Yeah.
It's got the victory bell. Got to go get the shillelagh.
Yeah, exactly.
One more thing before we get off of USC, because there's so many things to point out in that game. Rasheem Green and the 2 blocks. I mean, or the block kick. This is the second game in a row that he comes back with with a huge blocked field goal. Is John Baxter at doing what he does best, but also it's Rasheem Green. Is it designed for him to be that guy to sort of be in the right place?
What I think our coordinators have done a great job across the board is they're taking our weapons and using their strengths. And, in that situation, John I thought Baxter did an unbelievable job of being able to see a gap in the C gap that was a little bit weak, and be able to use Rasheem's quickness of lining up on the inside eye of that tackle, and then, swimming them to the outside and getting that big paw up there and knocking that ball down. And that's back-to-back weeks, huge plays. And that's the mark of our special teams right now, one of the top 10 special team efficiency teams in the country right now.
Well, the other big game on Saturday, of course, is Utah and Colorado. One I'm sure that you'll have. It's perfect. You get to coach, do your job, and then right when the game's over, the other one should start. Get those TVs fired up in the locker room for you. Size that one up for us. So what's the scouting report on Utah, Colorado?
Well, obviously 2 really good teams that we've had the good fortune to see, and it ought to be a great matchup. I think Utah has been running the ball extremely effectively in the second half of the season, and that's one of the things that I think you have to do against a Colorado team that has such a good secondary in the back end that did a tremendous job versus Washington State. So it ought to make for a great matchup. I know Folsom Field will be rocking, and it ought to be a lot of fun over there.
We'll get some weather this weekend. Just mix things up a little bit. Apple Cup on Friday will be fun to watch too. Decide who wins the North, the Pac-12 North. Well, as Coach talked about, USC football wants to team up with our fans to tackle homelessness for our first annual sneaker drive. All month long, Trojans have donated sneakers at various athletic events. Our big finale is the USC Notre Dame game coming up on Saturday, trying to reach the goal of 5,000 shoes. For more information, you can go to usctrojans.com/sneaker drive. There will be bins and people to help you out on Saturday when you bring your shoes to the park. Thank you to Coach. Kickoff again 12:30 on Saturday. Our pregame will start at 10:30. Next up, we're going to talk to a couple players. First, I think it's Justin Davis on Trojans Live.